I've just been spending the last hour looking for a vocal for this track. Other than that, it's basically exactly the same as what I had in the last video. I've dropped in a reference track now. Going off what I said in the last video, I feel like it's got Chris Lake vibes, so I've just dropped in I Remember. I'm going to use that as a reference track. Chunky Boy. Quickly show you the vocal I found. Again, this is just something I found off Splice.
I love the way you get late night up in my bed. I love the way you get. I love your loving. This is love, babe.
So as you can see, I'm just trying some stuff, cutting it up, rearranging it, been messing with vocals, synth on this vocal.
I love the way you get late night up in my bed.
Cool little effect, sounds pretty good when it's layered.
I love the way you get.
Almost sounds like there's a man and a woman singing this song together. I'm still not certain on any of this, but I mean, it kind of makes sense with the vocal that I already had in the last video. Something love, and then this one talking about love, so it kind of worked.
I love the way you get late night up in my bed. I love the way you get. I love your loving.
Like I said, other than that, there is no other changes, so that's just what I'm going to work on now for a couple of hours. Obviously, I'm basing everything off of the reference track now, so one thing I did notice when I listened to it was a lot of these drums don't kind of match with this reference. The clap, for example, is very completely different vibe if I play it. And Chris Lake's one's very snappy, whereas mine just sounds distorted to heck. I feel like I'm going to just focus on trying to get the drums the same as Chris Lake's. His kick's completely different as well, very boomer, whereas mine's puncher. I was thinking of just stealing it, but I think there's a hi-hat on it. Not the end of the world, but it's there. Moving on, I'm going to try and find a clap. Thought that was mine then. Yeah, completely restart with a clap. Could just steal that hi-hat too. Wrong way of doing that, because I'm going to be layering this. It'll be better to go into loop mode. Get the loop right, and then just do this. That way, if I add another clap, I don't have to duplicate it all the way across. I can just add it twice, and then it should go all the way across. Because that's what looping does. And shape it a bit. Snappier. Still needs another layer that's a bit more snappy. Oh, it's got crunch to it. Could have some more top end. Layer it up with one more high pitch one. It's not that bad, that. Let's compare it to the old clap. Completely different vibe. Yeah, that one can go away. Okay, sound. So we've got a better clap that's more in the style of Chris Lake. We've got the kick drum that's just stolen from a Chris Lake reference. Let's do the hi-hat next, which is completely quiet compared to this one. Again, different vibe altogether. So we'll need to find a different sample. It's a better one. I think that just needs shaping as well, make it a little bit shorter. Yeah, so I think that one should be used for the transient. And then have another one underneath it that's more like that actually. Not what I want, overdrive, let's try that instead. Not far off that at all. There is a close time there. Now I've not got one of them already, so let's include that. Let's try that one. I like the vibe of it. Yeah, and let's do some other variation. Where's that hitting as well? So it's hitting there. I don't want it to hit where the open hat's hitting. Because of similar frequencies, there's no need. I'm not sure about the closed hats, so I will try something else. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to pan some of these, if I can remember how you do that in this thing. So the only other thing that Chris Lake has in this section is this like kind of snare shot. I know that this track is very minimal. Everything, there's no real percussion other than the basic drums. So what I might do, I like the snare that he has, so I'm going to try and do something with that myself. But what I'm also going to do is probably have some sort of percussion in my song just to fill it out a little bit more, but we'll see. Probably going to have to cut this bit out just so I don't get copywritten. See, I like it with my percussion. Not sure about this hit, but with the white noise and whatever this noise is, it's cool. Okay, so I've got a load of the sounds now that sound more or less the same as the original song. So I'm now going to rearrange some things just to make it a bit more unique. Don't know how much more I can rearrange, but we'll see. I did have a shaker in mind originally. Let's see how that sounded. If we change it up a bit and change the sound, add some nice texture to it. Oh, a tambourine might be nice actually. Make it even quieter. And then he had a ride in my first one. Get a bit more energy. Sounding good. What I'm going to do, because I noticed when I was looking at Ozone that the claps are getting squished or getting cut off. I can't remember the right term for it, but I'm going to try that trick I did in the last video. So I'm going to basically saturate the kicks together and take some of the volume out of it. So I've got a bit more room to push the threshold down later. Right, so I'm going to go back and listen now to how it sounds with the bass. like that reverb anymore. The kick is actually quite short, so the kickstart doesn't have to be so long. Let me see, if I put kickstart on this, you should be able to see the wave. No, it might actually have to be that way. But this is a good way of being able to see how much sidechain you need to give. Obviously, if this kick was longer, then you need it to be longer. If it was even shorter than that, then you don't need it to go that long. It's the ramp's starting to come up as the kick's fading out, so this is probably the right kind of one we need. Yep, sounding good. I do feel like there's something missing with the bass, so I'm going to have a listen to the references. We'll see if I can pick out what it is. Not sure about it now. Might be too much. Tell you what, I feel like if I just give this some more release, then that could help it. Lost in trying to mix the low end at this point. This doesn't sound too bad. What I need to do, I'm just going to listen to it back with all that I've got in so far. So even with that vocal that I dropped in originally, and just see what the vibe's like. It's a mess. That's what it is. This vocal's playing as the lead's playing. It just doesn't work. The way I would see this would be that the vocal would play at some points and then the lead would play instead. And then you've got these parts here, which are almost a call and response kind of thing. So you've got these ones playing here, then you've got the lead, then you've got them playing again, then you've got the lead again. So that's the idea. Basically what we've done is in the first video, so the last video, I showed you the process on what I would do to make an original song. What then happened was the stuff I was making started to kind of come someone else's vibe, so Chris Lake's style. I've then come back today, added a new vocal, started messing around with a reference track. In the previous episode I didn't have a reference track, I just played whatever came to mind, and then I've added the reference track in now, which is going to help turn this from this loop into a full 6-minute track. What I would do now, because we've got this reference, is I'd actually go through the reference and make indicators and throughout the timeline, so I've got something to follow when it comes to arranging. I've just played the track all the way through and put down markers for things that I think are like key parts. We've got the basic DJ intro, which is just going to be the drums. Another bit of the intro, but this time I think we lose the kick or we filter out the kick and then the vocal starts playing. Then we've got a little build up, so the bass line is filtering in along with the snare. And then we have the first proper intro to the song, I guess. Next, there's some percussion and some effect shots. Then we have a vocal breakdown again before the snare build up, and then the first drop with all the major synths, just to add some variation. At this point, a ride starts playing. Then there's the kick and bass bridge, so this is literally just the kick and the bass playing. Open hi-hat joins in, big long vocal breakdown where we hear the full vocal, the full chorus, if you will. There's a build up here, but I haven't marked that because it's pretty obvious. Fake drop, so what that is instead of all the elements coming back in, there's like one kick, two kick, then it's empty, so then it's just kind of some like fill, or the synth fill, and then at that point it just carries on playing like normal, like a normal drop. Then an outro, then a DJ outro. I don't quite like the way the ending is. I remember mixing this during a DJ set and having just the drums playing at one point, and obviously that's pretty dull if you're DJing. That's what we've got. We've got all these bits now. So what I could start doing is start to do some sort of arrangement. Once that's done, that's when I can start messing around with all the assets that I've got. So, you know, like the vocals and the percussion and whatnot. So that's what I'm going to do now. It won't take me too long just to throw something basic down. Following this anyway. You don't have to do it exactly, but obviously these are good kind of like guidelines to follow. It gives you a bit of a direction to go down. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to duplicate all the way over and then just start removing bits that we don't need. See, this is a good example of what I was talking about earlier. So I'm following the reference track. We've got the kick plus the bass plus the bridge. What I don't like here is because I'm using the actual sample from the original song, there's a hi-hat in here or a closed hat. This is when I'd probably try and do something different, but I'm not going to bother with that yet. So we've got all this to worry about. Okay, so I quite like where the arrangement of this so far. I mean, it's dead basic. One thing I haven't tested is how it all sounds in mono. Absolutely fine. I'm not sure if I want to play the full vocal. I'm limited to what I've got in this sample. It's not actually, so it cuts off there, I think. So we've got an 8-bar sample basically. I might just get rid of this bit and just use this bit, and then we can introduce the full thing later down the line when we've got the full vocal breakdown and the big one for example. What we could also do is add a filter, so or filter that in along with the bass. And then we can absolutely drown it in reverb. Yeah, I like that. One thing I'm gonna do, let me just check the reference. Yeah, so as I thought, he gets rid of the snares here. I think I'm gonna leave it there for this episode. Basically, what the plan is now, and again, this is related to me personally, how I like to work, is still run with the ideas. So we started off with all this stuff here, and I knew that a lot of this was like messy. So I had some ideas in there for parts of the track, but what I haven't got is I haven't got a full track. So I need to start using all these elements and actually arrange them in a certain way. So like I said before, with using these parts at the start of the vocal, and then we're gonna bring in this main vocal for like the chorus or the breakdowns or whatever, however I choose to use them. I've also got this, which I've actually muted for the time being. That was from the previous episode, so that could still be used. And then we've obviously got this synth as well, which we need to work out how to actually transition into, because when it's just this bit here playing, it builds up, and then this feels like it comes out of nowhere. So there's things like, we've got this sweep here, so we could potentially use this in other parts of the song just to kind of hint at what's to come. So that gives you an idea of what I'm thinking, what I'm going to end up trying. And then I've got a load of other plugins that I plan on using for some of these vocals, just to see what comes out of it. So I'll quickly have a play actually just before I go. So this is a free plugin, and it's just a mental glitch machine. This is love. This is love. You get the idea. Good stretch, good stretch. So thanks for watching this. This is just part 2 of this new series. I really need to come up with some names for the actual series, because right now I'm just calling them vlogs, when really they're almost grouped up into project by project. So I might come up with a better way of organising my videos, but for now this is what it is. I'm going to continue with this project, obviously. If you're interested, subscribe to my channel and then you'll never miss it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.